A sign of a not confident man is a man who rages and yells and does not do the work to resolve that within himself. Another sign of a not confident man is someone who can't take feedback. Now, I'm not saying it's ever going to be easy to, if someone's like, you're an idiot. Okay. But if someone... Alana Pratt here, intimacy expert, with your question about what are some things that confident men don't do? Well, after, my goodness, I've probably interviewed over 850 people, my podcast, Intimate Conversations. I've been at this for 20 years, as a human on the planet for 52 years. And confidence is a curious thing. Confidence, there's a confidence from outside in and there's a confidence from inside out. So let's start there. Confidence from outside in is based on your accomplishments, your biceps, your money. It's everything you can do, but it doesn't have anything to do with who you be, just what you can produce as a result. And results are amazing. I'm a very driven woman. I have a lot of masculine energy. So I love that. So, but a confident man doesn't boast, doesn't one up, maybe in joyful jest and kindness with his friends, but not from a place of insecurity that he needs to boast just because he's actually doesn't believe he's good enough and needs to lead with his money and lead with his accomplishments to make others feel small so that he feels superior. Not so attractive. A telltale sign. Big eagle. Big bald eagle. Big. We just had this moment together. Whoa. Okay, that's fucking amazing. I love it. Okay, so that is something like from the outside in. He can also do it with his 20-year-old on his arm, for example. Maybe going through like a midlife crisis and just, can't find his center and doesn't want to look, doesn't want to feel, really. It's not so much looking, it's more feeling. And so another way to see that a man, might look confident on the outside, pulling up in his hot sports car with his, super young babe on his arm. But it's like there's like a showy bravado energy to it, machismo energy to it, where you can tell underneath it all, if the chick went away and the car went away, he'd be destitute, because on the inside, he hasn't found himself yet. He's defined from the outside in, not from the inside out. So that's one kind of confidence. The inner kind of confidence from the inside out is when you can keep your heart open and stay present in the face of anything, where you can sit at a table and maybe you just are a bestseller, or you have $1 billion company, but by the end of dinner, like, you haven't really mentioned it once. You're more curious about others. You're more interested in others. You're full. You're overflowing. You're more about a contribution and a mentorship or an impact that you can make on the planet. So you can tell when someone doesn't have confidence from the inside out, because they boast a lot. They also yell and get really upset. They project their unresolved self-criticism, self-shame, self-abuse. They don't process it, and they spew it on others. So a sign of a not confident man is a man when things go really bad, or even just getting cut off in traffic. It's just somebody cutting you off in traffic. It is not the end of the world. Like, I was literally at this lake a while back. I did a video actually for my newsletter. The videos I do here on YouTube are on YouTube. The videos I do for my newsletter are just for the people in my newsletter. No one else gets to see them. So they're quite a lot more vulnerable. And I was at this very lake, and this gentleman, the wife was trying to get the fish off the something, I don't know. And he was just like, motherfucker. He was screaming, you idiot. I started crying. That amount of rage. I mean, it's a fish. It's a freaking fish. So it's not about the fish. He was yelling about the fish, and he was yelling at her, and it was atrocious to listen to. But it's not about the fish. It's about his internal, or lack thereof, relationship with himself. He was probably yelled at as a kid. He probably just keeps yelling at himself, and maybe he doesn't like his life very much. And so a sign of a not confident man is a man who rages and yells and does not do the work to resolve that within himself. Another sign of a not confident man is someone who can't take feedback. Now, I'm not saying it's ever going to be easy if someone's like, you're an idiot. Okay. But if someone gives like valid constructive feedback, or even puts it in a sandwich, which I teach, in order to present something that's constructive criticism, start with some gratitude end with some curiosity. Like, don't just go for the jugular, but somebody who, the minute you even begin to question that they're not perfect, they lose their shit. Get very defensive, justify, blame, get in your face, yell, storm off, all the rest of it. Well, you're no better, and they just try to put you down. Whoa, that is a sign of a real lack of confidence, a real hatred of self, a real deep. The lowest on Hawkins' scale of consciousness is shame. Guilt is like, I did something bad. Shame is, I am bad. Somebody that is that reactive and cannot take constructive criticism definitely has some deep work to do in terms of their level of self-shame. There's something happened and they have not forgiven themselves. Their existence even. I mean, sometimes when parents aren't into you growing up, you've decided that you're the reason that life isn't working for everybody. So your very existence is wrong. So there's some deep work to do there. Another area that I would say shows a lack of confidence, if you've established a monogamous relationship, or even if you've established an open relationship, to get your hit of approval off of flirting with other women, touching other women, affairs with other women, attention from other women, when you have a woman, it shows definite neediness, lack of worth, where you need all of that approval on the outside in order to feel good enough on the inside. You're feeding off attention and touch, or the chase, in order to feel good enough, when you have a partner right there who feels devastated at the leaking of the sexual energy. And so there are relationships where both partners are very full and they have a more open way of being, and that's not the case. But in general, I would say if it's more of a monogamous relationship, that behavior shows not confidence, but certainly the lack thereof. And it creates huge separation between the partners. And then he just gets to blame the main partner for being jealous, rather than have a look at what is he doing that could cause that lack of safety. So all of these all come back to the same place: unhealed, unresolved, unconscious wounds of the heart. I've done this for 20 years and I've always talked about the heart. My courses were called Heart Splayed Wide Open. My best friend died when I was 16, and I remember the moment, shut my heart down, wish I'd never met him, stay mad at God, or open my heart, be grateful for the time I got to spend with my friend, and learn how to keep my heart open in the face of anything. So from 16, that's been my thing. Intuitively, I know that when my heart is open, I'm open to miracles, I'm open to money, I'm open to men, I'm open to like magic. When my heart is closed, I stay in my head and I judge myself, and I judge others, and I judge the universe. I'm a cranky, crunchy lady. But when my heart is open, it's different. And thank goodness that I've been doing this for 20 years, and I got the privilege of leading a guided meditation for the annual Heart Math conference down in Cancun before the pandemic. And that's when I was so geeking out with all of the scientists that there is a measurable way to see if we're indeed in a heart open coherence, if we're indeed vibrating, not thinking appreciation, feeling appreciation, not thinking love and gratitude and feeling love and gratitude. People can feel across the board. People often say to me, what is it about Alana that you quite enjoy? And more times than not, I would say almost 80% people say her energy. Well, what about her energy? Well, it feels good. And so we can feel energy. It's like a violin. When you pluck one string, the other strings vibrate. Like being around someone who does the work to keep their heart open, who's coherent. It just feels good to be around them. And you more easily than on your own, more easily around someone who's coherent can raise as well, can raise up an appreciation and gratitude and tenderness and compassion on the hard days, and empathy on the hard days. It's just easier around someone who's already vibrating at that energy. And so you can become that. To me, that's called a leader. To me, that's called a conscious contribution to humanity. To me, that's our job. Like, what are we here to do? Just let life's challenges and circumstances and obstacles turn us into assholes? Don't think so. I think they're here to humble us. That's for damn sure. I've certainly been humbled many, many, many a time. And the good news is that's what brings us home to little you inside, allows us to have compassion and empathy for ourselves, allows us to heal that self-hatred and forgive ourselves, and then come into coherence and be our best selves to live our mission, vision, and purpose. Like, what else are we friggin' doing here? So that the very worst can bring out the very best in us. That's what I'm about. So if that's what you're about, come play over in my world. Go to my site, alanapratt.com. Just sign up for the newsletter. The videos here on YouTube are for everybody on the planet. And the videos in my newsletter are just for the people on my list. They're far more behind the scenes and vulnerable. And I would love you to be able to be inspired and feel safe to be vulnerable as well by being in our community. Also on our site, there's an amazing intimacy assessment where you can learn what is that blind spot that is repelling this love and intimacy that I'm craving more of. So have a boo there, because that's complimentary as well. And then lastly, please subscribe if you haven't yet. It's not something I normally say on the videos, but the more people that subscribe, the algorithms shift and I'm able to serve more people. So thank you if you'd be so kind as to do that right now as well. I'm grateful. And bottom line, I want you to look in the mirror when you're done this video, or look in the mirror of your phone and just say, hey, I got you. I got you. Because at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, if we can have our own back, everything else gets a little easier, a little more playful, a little more fun, and makes you a lot more attractive. And no matter what happens circumstantially, you got this. It's very sexy. All right. Until next time.